1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
And sorry, I'm trying to get my guest in. There we go. Well, Clint, that was quite a speech you gave last night. Yes, I have Clint Eastwood here with me. Say hi, Clint. Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Hang on. Oh, gee, this is low. Sorry, I'm sitting on Clint's lap. Ooh. Okay, I'm lower. If you missed it, I'm really sorry, because that was one of the most jaw-dropping moments in American political history that I've ever witnessed. Yesterday, if you'll recall, we were talking about who this mystery guest might be at the Republican convention, and I said to Sokolowski, I had heard, I couldn't believe it, but I had heard that the mystery guest was going to be Ronald Reagan appearing as a hologram. Holograph? Shadowy figure that appears real. Hologram? It sounds like a telegram. No, whatever. You get it. And in fact, that is in the works. But they didn't roll them out last night. They should have. Instead, they got another Hollywood type, Clint Eastwood. And when I heard Clint was going to, I sort of thought, oh no, because he's, everybody loves him and he's so good. And I thought, oh, he's going to be incredible. And then he came out, my God. He looked like he hadn't combed he looked like a bum walking in off the street. He had bedhead. His hair was sticking up funny and he looked like maybe an old guy with Alzheimer's who had wandered in by mistake. Oh, God bless him. God bless him. And I don't know if you were watching any of it beforehand, but so anyone who turned in to just that last, thought, I can't take all these damn speeches and stuff. I'll just get the last hour, want to see what Romney says. They were treated to that. Prior to Clint's arrival, the RNC had played, one of these gauzy, wondrous documentaries about Mitt and Anne and the family. And as those things always are, I mean, they're, if you're open to being moved, you will be. And all I want to say is whoever is responsible for putting this convention, the Republican convention, for putting it on and for vetting speakers and for what a miserable failure of a job. Oh, my God. You had the keynote speech from Christie, which was a me note, talked all about himself. Rubio last night, in introducing Romney, talked all about himself as well. It was definitely a better speech than Christie's. But I would think if you, especially after Christie's speech, if you were looking, if they hadn't vetted that speech, shame on them. And then after Christie, if they didn't say to Rubio, hey, we know your biography is really compelling and, you're important to us to attract Hispanics and blah, blah, blah. But remember, this is about Mitt. More than anything, it's about Mitt. And, you just don't get to him. It's all about you. And then they didn't, they let Clint Eastwood walk out there with no speech? Nothing? Wow. It occurred to me, unfortunately, a little late, that this is the kind of an event where Twitter, for those of you who aren't on it, this is the kind of event where Twitter is extraordinarily entertaining. So, I ran over and got my phone and started looking, and the tweets were coming in just immediately because everybody all over the world was sitting there watching this in absolute disbelief. David Axelrod was one. Obama's guy. He was watching in Chicago, and what did he say? Wait, I scribbled it down. Axelrod's watching, and he says, come on, Cullen, where is it? Do you notice how, I should be with Eastwood, a wandering old person. If I left that at home, I'm going to break my neck. I think I'm going to have to break my neck. I forgot what Axelrod tweeted. But here it is. He was absolutely, again, it's a slack-jawed tweet. He wasn't trying to be funny. He was just, in his astonishment, he just tweeted, what the heck is this? Mia Farrow tweeted, one word, cringing. And that's pretty much what I was doing, because I've always liked Clint Eastwood. I think he's a brilliant, actually, director. And even though he seems like a monotone actor, he's a brilliant director. He writes all the, he composes the music in his films. He's incredibly talented guy, and he's no dummy. So I was cringing, like Mia Farrow, cringing. I don't know anyone who doesn't like him. I forgot what I was going to say. God, I'm just like him! It was upsetting because he did seem absolutely... Have you ever heard more sort of muttering? And if there is a transcript of that, there are times when he was just like, and then just dead silence and all the... It was just, God! You thought, what is he doing? What is he doing? And then the total, absolutely not right to do the, what did you say? I should tell Mr. Romney what? Well, that's physically impossible. It was probably go F yourself or something. That's not the kind of, I'm sorry, we as a country and our politics definitely leading the way or along with it, have been going down the tubes for some time. Our ability to communicate in a respectful tone and in an erudite manner. And there is this guy about, right before the Republican candidate is coming out, and he's essentially pretending the president is sitting in a chair, suggesting that the president would say to Romney, "Go F yourself." And given the crowd, too, that these are, you got to believe there's a lot of church-going, sort of uptight types there, too. Did you see there was a cutaway taken of Ann Romney during it for a second? And she just looked. Here's the word. We haven't used it this week yet. Gobsmacked. Gobsmacked. And probably not a little bit pissed off. Wow. I'd be delighted to hear your reactions. You can call me at 412-316-3381. It's right there. Or you can email me, and as soon as I get my computer up and running, I'll make sure I can get your emails at Lynn at PGH City Paper. Somebody there? Mm-hmm. Oh, hi.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, Clint Eastwood's a prime example of a man that doesn't know when to quit. I see this all the time with these. And my father-in-law, when he was living, he used to say that people got to know when to quit in life and let the younger ones do the thing. It's just they just keep going on and on and on, and they make a fool out of themselves later on in life, which they might have been a decent person or had great
it's
movies
sad.
Or whatever.
I know. In that regard, it's sad because I mean I like the guy, and it's so I keep thinking of how he must be feeling today, and he's not used to being ridiculed. You don't do that, and
right.
It's just sad, really sad.
I have one other thing. I think, and I really believe this, watching these polls in the battleground state, I think Obama is going to win because Ohio and Pennsylvania are going to go to him. And maybe Romney might pick off Florida, but there's no combination. They were saying that he can win without Ohio.
Yeah, I have trouble paying attention to that stuff at this point, but
I think he's going to win.
Yeah, Pennsylvania is probably in the bag, and I think Ohio as well.
Yes.
Although they act, both states act and seem at the state level extraordinarily red these days. So it's very confusing to me how all of a sudden they turn and go blue in presidential elections. I don't get it, but whatever. So yeah, I agree. It's sad. It is sad, but I'm going to keep piling on anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you. No, absolutely. Oh, God, Clint. Oi. I mean, I feel so. Here's some comments from you guys. I finally got into my account here. I'm sorry. Ansel writes, 1, hate to say it, but I would jump parties if Condi Rice was running for president. It would be a welcome change to vote for intelligence just once. Well, you don't think Barack Obama's intelligent? Or he's a Republican? Okay, intelligent Republican? I'm sure Romney is bright. What? He went to Harvard Law School just like Obama. And that's another thing Eastwood said, that he didn't want any, he was sick of attorneys or something. We shouldn't, there's too many attorneys that run for president. Who needs them? And while you don't think of Romney as an attorney, he went to Harvard Law. Back to Ansel, too. The only thing weirder than Clint Eastwood's comedy routine would have been a Reagan hologram. It is a hologram. Thank you. Yeah. And it would have been better for the convention. But that's why I'm glad that it was Eastwood. Number 3, Romney's speech was a turn off. He was condescending, disjointed, and his lips. Ansel, you're getting a little picky here. His lips made an annoying smacking sound every 2 or 3 sentences. Hey, actually, Ansel, you bring something up I've been wanting to talk about. It wasn't just Romney's lips. The mic at the podium is so sensitive, must be, that it picks up every little murmur of the speaker. And after a speaker at the convention would finish a sentence, let's say the sentence that is followed by raucous applause and cheers. You would hear whatever noise is coming out of the speaker's mouth, even though the overriding audio is cheers. But then you would clearly hear, and here are the ones that really drove me crazy. There was Paul Ryan, actually, was making mouth noises during his speech that drove me nuts. Now, I was hearing those. I, for some reason, wasn't hearing Romney last night. But I'm sure, we all do it. But in a normal situation, you don't hear that. In normal conversation, you wouldn't hear it. And with a mic that wasn't that hot, you wouldn't hear it. There was a woman, a liberal Democrat, she called herself, who worked in Romney's cabinet in Massachusetts, Secretary of Labor, I guess, and a black woman to boot, who came on earlier in the evening. Black woman liberal to sing his praises. Now, they would have been smart to play her higher up. But every time the audience cheered something she said, she would, here's what you would hear. You would hear the cheering, and then you'd hear her going, It was like she couldn't believe she was standing at a Republican convention being cheered. And there were these little titters of such delight. Oh, my God, it became comical. So, yeah, you heard Romney's lip-smacking last night. Ryan's lip-smacking, or whatever that most sounds he was making. I don't know what he was doing. Drove me crazy. And if you were to go back and listen to any of the speakers, there is a tendency for all of them to have some little verbal tick that normally would not be picked up, but was, for whatever reason. And that's unfortunate. And I don't know if there's, whoever's running audio, if there was a way to always sort of tamp it down, especially when you know you've got like a giggler like that woman or a lip smacker, because it's annoying. And Ansel continues, Romney's comment about Obama lowering the levels of the ocean. Thanks for bringing that up. Shows the ignorance of the Republicans in regards to science. Right? It was probably one of the best lines of his speech, as far as the convention audience was concerned. The actual line was what? That President Obama promised to lower the level of the ocean. And the place erupts in laughter, which it was supposed to. But obviously, a fact check of that shows that Obama didn't say, I will lower the oceans and save the earth, or whatever they were making fun of him for doing. He was talking about his administration would have a commitment to addressing these issues of global warming and environmental issues. But see, environmental issues are a laugh line at a Republican convention. And Ansel is so correct. In maybe 50 years, somebody who's now a kid or not even born who becomes a historian or an ecologist will come upon that section. This is what happened at the Republican convention in 2012. The Republican nominee, a guy named Mitt Romney, ridiculed the president for saying that he would try to keep the oceans from rising. And the audience laughed and hooted and hollered. In 50 years, people will look at that reaction by the Republicans with, I don't know, astonishment, rage, maybe rage. Because by then, in 50 years, the consequences of not being proactive, facing the threat of sea level rising, will be known, will be being felt, will be draining the budgets of states on the Atlantic coast who are desperately trying to move back all of those fancy schmancy homes. And I don't, in Manhattan where the subways could flood. I mean, what is funny? Oh, maybe they weren't saying global warming isn't real, although they are. Maybe they were just saying that Obama is such an elitist, is so into himself, is so arrogant, that what does he think? He's Moses? It made it sound as if Barack Obama said, I will stand on the Isle of Manhattan and raise my arms and hold back the waters. So ridiculing the president's concern for a very real problem that this party of resolute know-nothings refuses to even acknowledge. Sorry, pet peeve. What is with the Republicans breaking out all the time in this USA, 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 USA? What is that? I'm serious. What is that? Is that how they express their what? What? Tell me what they're expressing. Because I don't think it's love of country. I don't. It's not how it sounds. It sounds bellicose. It sounds in your face, USA. It sounds angry. It sounds like the angry white people who are the bedrock of that party. It sounds like, we're the best, USA. It's all this like a sort of like overly defensive, infantile. Cheering. It's no different than if they were to have interrupted, things time and time again with, we're number one. We're number one. It's the same thing. USA. What do they think they're at? A football game? At the Olympics in a close hockey game? I mean, I understand doing USA if the United States team is playing in some international. But when we're talking about something as important as our place and our agenda for the future, to have a crowd that just, its default response is just this angry. It's not loving. It's not respectful. It is, as I say, it's not geared, it's like geared to everybody else. It's like they're saying it to Democrats. We're the people who love this country and you don't. It's said to the Europeans, to the Asians, to the South Americans, to all the poor people of the world who aren't lucky enough to be the greatest human beings in the world, the Americans. It's a sure way to offend absolutely everybody. If you are the greatest, I'm just saying, this is what I say to my son. If you are the best, If you are the greatest, then you don't hot dog like that. You wear your greatness with a measure of dignity and even solemnity in this case, and quiet pride, but you don't use it as a cudgel. That's what Republicans do, patriotism as a cudgel. And it truly offends me. I'm sorry. Neanderthal, not even reaching Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal. One step above grunting. Embarrassing. Those were your countrymen last night. That is the antidote to the Democrats. A bunch of bellicose Neanderthals with Clint Eastwood at the head, talking to an empty chair. Oh, my God. Okay, gotta take a break. A break. I've been working on that R. A break, and we'll be back with more of your comments. I'll get to them, I promise. I'll stop bogarting. Back in a sec.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Pittsburgh City Paper is now available on your smartphone. Go to citypapermobile.com to read this week's digital issue or search for restaurants, bars, concerts, events, and movies on any portable device. Plus blog, Lynn Cullen, City Guide, CPTV, and Best of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh City Paper, available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania, and on the web at pghcitypaper.com, and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an opportunity here. If you have some time and you spend too much of it maybe watching political talk shows and stuff like that, and that doesn't get you anywhere, you might want to really contribute to the, world, make it a better place. Really, I'm serious about this. How about volunteering for the Greater Pittsburgh Literacy Council? I can't think of a better way. I mean, I, who read incessantly, cannot imagine a world in which I didn't have that ability and that pleasure, that necessity, as far as I'm concerned. And there are people for whom it is not a pleasure. They might can read a word or two here, but they really never learned for whatever reason. Now they're older. They know how much of a deficit it is. So they go to the Greater Pittsburgh Literacy Council and say, I want to learn how to read. And you know what the Greater Pittsburgh Literacy Council has to say to them? That's wonderful. But we're a little short on our tutors right now, and we'll have to put you on a waiting list. Because that's what they're saying now. That's why they asked me to tell you that. And I know they figured that my audience would be a potential gold mine for them. Because they know my audience is smart. They know my audience is empathetic, would like to help make things better. And so we're trying it again. Think about it, okay? They teach you how to teach one-on-one. They do. Go to their website, gplc.org, Greater Pittsburgh Literacy Council.org, or give them a call. 412-393-7600, 393-7600. I'm serious. Change a life. Could be yours.
Get Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. Go to citypapermobile.com now for Pittsburgh City Paper's brand new mobile app. Get the latest restaurant reviews, event listings, movie times, and of course, Lynn Cullen Live on your smartphone. citypapermobile.com.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Well, hi, welcome back. It's, we got about half hour left, and then we're off on a 3-day weekend, and then we got the Democratic convention to deal with. Ugh. It's got to be better than this one, and I'm not even talking politics. It's just got to be better run. This was horrific. NP writes, if you're a woman or a minority, all you need to know about the Republican Party is to look at the big mystery speaker, an ultra-conservative, tough guy, macho man, white male, Clint Eastwood. Well, I think generally speaking, though, the party is not as, it's not, Eastwood is brighter than most. I don't know what happened. What he's 82? He just wasn't there. You think he was drinking? I don't get it. And here, I want to say something about the women thing. It's been pointed out, and I've pointed it out in the past, as Republicans wage their perennial war on women, there is a strange thing that is going on. And I've not been able to figure it completely. But when you look at the women that the Republicans trotted out at this convention to show that they really were embracing of women and their issues, Republicans elect women to high office much more so than Democrats do. Okay, what I'm saying is, I think there are many more Republican women governors. I'm blanking now. Do we have a Democratic female governor in this country right now? As I can't think of her if we do. Of all the governors of states that are women, is any a Democrat? I'm coming up empty. But Republican women become governors. Now, we've got some senators, God knows, but so do the Republicans. Jess, you coming up with anything?
I think this one says...
Oh, wait, maybe Hawaii. No, she's not there anymore. No, that was a Republican. Hawaiian government.
There are currently two.
There are currently two Democratic women governors. Washington State.
Christine Gregoire.
Okay, yes, right.
In North
Christine
Carolina,
Gregoire.
Bev Perdue.
And Bev Perdue is a
Carolina.
Democrat?
That's what it says.
In North Carolina?
They're both stepping down after.
And they're both stepping down after this. Anyway, whatever. I don't get that. But I think if you look, I don't know what it is. And even if you look here at Pennsylvania, as you know, the paucity of women in elective office is simply outrageous. Places us with the likes of Mississippi. Bottom of the barrel. But when we do see women reaching higher office in this state, they're more often Republicans. Now, granted, then they end up in jail, but still. What's that about? Huh? You good old boys at the Democratic Party establishment? You good old boys? What's that about? I got a feeling that women don't exactly feel comfortable in the party apparatus. That's my guess. Or women are too busy holding things together on the home front to have the energy or time to do the rest. Gigi reminds us of, did you see what Obama's response on Twitter was to Clint Eastwood's speaking to the empty chair? The president tweeted a photo from behind of his chair with him in it. You can just see his head and those ears above the chair, and it says the president. It is the chair. It's him from behind. And he tweeted that photo and with the caption, "This chair is taken." Political wag Liz Winstead tweeted this morning, "Oh my God, you'll never believe who's sitting next to me on the plane this morning." And she had an Instagram, that you clicked on. Well, I thought, wow, I wonder who. I click on it. It's a picture of an empty seat next to her. So I was just saying, Obama. Cute. Well, okay, what else? What else I got here? Oh, some of the other tweets. While Eastwood was going on, someone tweeted, after the speech, Eastwood is going to get in his car, jump the curb, and injure 11 people. For those of you, he's talking about that 100-year-old man who did just that yesterday. I don't know. Okay. Is that it? Are we done? You guys you don't have anything else to say? I don't know. We're almost at the point where we're almost at the point now where I actually do start paying attention. Go ahead, please. Caller.
Hey, Lynn. How are you? How you doing?
I am fine. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hey. Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, now that's out of the way. Who let Clint Eastwood go up on stage without a comb?
Well, that's what I wanted. Didn't he look like he'd just gotten out of bed?
Yes, he just looked like
a bum,
doddering old man. I actually felt sorry for him.
No, I know. I did too. He looked like a lost soul shuffling around a nursing home.
I mean, I don't think he was intoxicated. I don't think he was prepped at all. I think he just got up there and thought he could riff as if he were at the Oscars.
Do you I think so too. And I think maybe the people there were so in awe of having landed him that they didn't dare to ask what he's going to do. Apparently, there's a red light that the speakers can see that when it's flashing, it says, it's telling him, okay, enough, your time's up. And through most of his thing,
the red light was on.
The red light was flashing wildly. I mean, just wildly, and he ignored it.
And am I just being biased and thinking that was a real dud of a convention? I thought the 2008 convention for the Republicans went far better for them.
Yeah, it was a bad convention. It was, and maybe they were, first of all, they got thrown off because they had thought they were having a 4-day convention, and then the weather got in their way, and then they blah, 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 whatever. It was screwed up, though, and a lot of bad decisions, and a lot of not vetting speeches. I mean, if you were really doing it, you would not have allowed Christie to do the speech he did.
Well, Christie was doing it for 2016.
But Rubio didn't mention Romney hardly at all either, so he was doing it for 2016 too. I mean, it was like they're already giving up on 2012, and so they were all parading themselves before the congregation for 4 years hence.
Read, and I could be wrong, but what I've read, the Romney campaign has essentially ceded Pennsylvania.
Yes,
President Obama.
That's what I've heard too.
And they're almost on the verge, from what I've read, of if they can't make headway in Ohio soon, they're going to seat Ohio, which would be if they seat Ohio, that's the election.
Well, I don't know. I haven't crunched numbers. If there might be some other way they can pull it off, I don't know.
There is, but it's incredibly
not probable.
Unlikely.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd have to win Florida, Virginia, Wisconsin, Colorado, Nevada. I mean, they'd have to win every other possible swing state.
All the other toss-ups, right? I don't know.
I'm not overly confident because they've got their voter suppression schemes in place, as they always do.
Yeah.
Whenever they hold state legislatures or governorships, and because the unemployment rate is, let's face it, is still quite high. but I don't think. By the way, public polling of voters confirms that most voters, even those who plan to vote for Romney, expect President Obama to win re-election.
Mm-hmm.
That's the public perception.
Mm-hmm.
That's the perception on Intrade. Are you familiar with Intrade?
Yes.
Where you can bet on just about anything. You buy and sell shares in just about anything, including political futures.
But, this scares me because I think it's much tighter. Romney can win. And if Democrats or sort of leaning Democrats think, there's no way these Republicans can win, then Democrats stay home, then we lose.
No, I don't think most people think it's...
this is going to be
I think most Democrats realize that...
Do you know what could happen?
Turnout is going to be very important.
Do you know?
Because there's nothing that shows there's going to be some blowout. There's nothing that shows it's not going to be close.
I have heard somebody suggest that it is conceivable that this election will be a reverse of the Bush-Gore election in that Obama will win the Electoral College but could lose the popular vote.
I've seen that, but analysts have actually looked on that and say it's extremely unlikely.
Well,
because the reality is that the places where Romney has big leads are the usual big empty square Republican states.
And that one right
Montana,
south
Wyoming,
of us,
North Dakota, South Dakota,
and
Kansas, Nebraska,
West Virginia.
Yeah.
He's probably got a bigger lead in West Virginia than any other state.
Yeah. West Virginia is, it's not as sparsely populated as the other states I mentioned, but the secret of our politics is that without the states that have virtually no people in them, with the exception of Texas, Republicans aren't competitive. And when you look at the Senate, Republicans are massively overrepresented in the Senate.
Right, of course.
All of those states get two Senate votes.
Right.
But they represent a tiny proportion of our population.
Those are states that might have what? One member in the House of Representatives and two senators.
Yeah, they have two senators and one member in the House.
God almighty.
It's almost a level of absurdity.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, gosh, I don't know. But, the battle will be joined at the end of next week because then the conventions are done and off we go. Yeah, off we go. I'm going to be, to me, it's a nail biter. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, but this was a lousy convention for the Republicans, and there's no doubt about that. It just was.
Yeah, I suppose it's maybe a little salacious for me to see if I'm being biased. Well,
but here...
don't have some of the same biases, but... in 2008, the Palin rollout really did cause a lot of excitement for them.
You know if it was a good convention when you, as a Democrat, get scared after it. When you're scared, you're thinking, oh, my God, these guys are getting so fired up. Oh, my God, this is all, This crowd was not fired up. This crowd was trying to fire itself up. The takeaway moment from this convention, the memory of this convention will come down to one thing.
Clint Eastwood.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah, but you called it right. This was a crowd of people who were faking themselves into getting all fired up.
Right.
There's a difference. They weren't genuinely fired up about Mitt Romney.
That's why they had to keep saying USA, USA.
Don't you find that incredibly offensive?
Yes.
As if it's somehow a chant of intimidation.
No, that's what I just said. It's bellicose. It's belligerent. It's not saying I love the United States. It's saying, in your face, we're the best. And we'll bang you on the head if you don't agree.
I heard the clip of the Republican Party official from Puerto Rico, who came out, and when it was explained that she was from Puerto Rico, the crowd just started chanting USA, USA to drown her out. I thought that was just disgusting. You're using the name of our nation, where we aspire to be a nation that represents freedom in the world, to drown someone out. I don't get these people. I don't get their mentalities.
No, you don't. And that's why. That's right. You don't, and neither do I, and that's why we're Democrats. It's unfortunate that we can't even recognize.
Pointed out with some it got recently pointed out on a website I tend to frequent with some regularity, the Washington Monthly's site, that even if Romney and Ryan fail this time around. And President Obama appears to have the edge electoral. It's certainly not a lock. It's going to be very close. It's going to be very difficult. He could be upset. But 4 years from now or 8 years from now, a pair of Republicans are going to get in. And if they remain as radicalized a party as they have become, as they currently are, it's going to be very bad for our nation all over again indeed.
Exactly.
This isn't even the party of conservatism under Ronald Reagan.
No.
I don't know what these people are anymore. I really don't.
They're scary. They're scary. That's what they are. They're scary. They're frightened. They're scared. They're desperately clinging to a past that is, they don't like change. And sorry, guys, we are changing. Change is constant. They're frightened. They're frightened and they're frightening. That's what I think. I got to run.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for your call. Appreciated very much. As a matter of fact, I do have to take a break. Quickie, and I'll be right back.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Go to birdbargains.com for great deals on tickets to the Science Center, the History Museum, Carnegie Museums, and some of the best restaurants in Pittsburgh. This week, get 50% off tickets to the Pittsburgh Irish Festival. Birdbargains.com. Local deals, local merchants. Birdbargains.com.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a pep talk that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You can improve your future. Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and for free classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education, brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
All right, so speaking of the election, because the Republicans know that this is an election that is going to be very hard for them to win, they, as you do know, have been pulling out all the stops trying to make it impossible for Democrats to vote. We have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Hello, go ahead. Hello?
Lynn?
Yeah. Yes.
It's Tom Sokolowski.
Well, listen, Mr. Sokolowski.
I just wanted to put before you and the listeners, I see you move to my chair, so I hope the vibes of my chair are going up into your posterior to inspire you.
Well, I have to tell you, is that your chair? Is that why? Are you always lower than me? That's a lower chair.
I'm never lower than you, dear.
I'm sorry, but I think it diminishes you. Yes, I mean our posterior should be at the same level, Tom. I sat in that chair. I sat in that chair.
I wanted to share with you. I thought it was funny last night. I merged the way an art historian, which I am, looks at images next to one another, and I began the evening watching 2 episodes of Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, and then the Republican convention. And I thought there was something remarkably appropriate about that.
I was going to say it was a seamless transition.
Yes, well, because underneath all of that palaver, there's the talk of those welfare mothers. And then in Honey Boo Boo, we had that revolting family going to an auction when they're both all supposed to be on a diet and voting to pick up, every kind of greasy, slimy cookie. And instead of buying milk and what have you, they went home. And then all of the sort of quasi-racist talk. And then you go on to these supposedly classy Republicans. And as you've been saying today, that total performance. And one would hope it was a performance rather than just decrepitude on the part of Clint Eastwood. But it was, it just made me think, where is my country going?
Yes.
Or has it gone already?
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah, absolutely scary. I thought the greatest line was when someone said, didn't someone give him a comb? I mean, what movie stars know to do is have their makeup person there before they go out even take the bus. If they ever take the bus, mind you.
No, but, I doubt that too. God Almighty! No, I thought it was really frightening, and Eastwood incomprehensible. I'm stunned because he's a bright man.
Oh yeah, very much. The other thing I have to say, one of the things that I found offensive too, and not that much for Mr. Romney actually, but all these people getting up there, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but who came and worked hard, and rose up, Mr. Rubio being one of them, Well, that was my parents and their grandparents, and me to a certain degree, although more privileged than the previous two generations, and you and your family. Mm-hmm. And we don't go on and make it into these legends of St. Lynn and St. Tom who go through the tribulations and trials to become what we become. Get over it. That's the way life is.
Yeah, move on. Forward. Because these guys can only look in the rearview mirror and mourn. They want to go back. I just realized why Obama's, because I thought at first it was a stupid slogan. The slogan for the Democrats this year is forward. And I guess it's to contrast themselves with the clear backwardness of the Republicans.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, listen, no, wait.
Many beloved listeners get on.
Okay, but wait.
Have a nice holiday weekend.
Thank you, Tom. You too, but
don't drink and drive.
Tom.
Yes?
I have to tell you one thing. You have a nice weekend too, and stop watching Honey Boo Boo. I am so sorry I ever told you about it.
But it's that great, I'll end with a fancy word. It's that great German term, Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
Laughing at the misfortunes
of others.
All right, you take care. Bye-bye.
You too, Tom. Bye. Oh, dear God. Okay, so as I was saying, so the Republicans are have been terribly busy trying to suppress the Democratic vote, and they do this by many means, but the voter ID laws that they've passed in many of the red states, the states that they can see. God, guys, this is where these in-between elections count so much. Pennsylvania goes Democratic every national election. But in between, it elects these yahoos that are on the convention floor. USA. It elects them to run the state. They own our legislature. And then they pass these outrageous bills. The disconnect in the electorate's head is mind-boggling. Well, anyway, Texas has the most, this is a shock, Texas has the most outrageous one of these laws that was passed. This is the ID you have to show can be a concealed gun permit, but it can't be your college ID. There it is. There it is in a nutshell. Oh, if you're packing heat, we want you to vote. So, yeah, that'll work. If you're a student who might, in fact, have an open mind and be questioning things, we sure as hell don't want you voting. So the Texas law got ruled unconstitutional yesterday by a 3-judge panel. Of course, it's being what do you call that? I mean, appealed. And I guess that would be appealed to, at this point, doesn't that then go to the Supreme Court? Who knows if that'll be in time? I do not know. Pennsylvania law, as you know, has gotten itself to our state Supreme Court. And I can't think of a more telling fact about the desperation of the Republicans in this election cycle. Because they are a party overwhelmingly, blindingly made up of grumpy, confused, angry white people. I guess that's why Clint Eastwood was actually perfect, because that's how he came across, as a totally grumpy, confused, wrinkled old white guy. And because the country is increasingly younger, browner, they're in trouble. So what do? You do what people who want those darker-skinned people not to vote have done forever. And in the good old days, in the Jim Crow South, that was the Democratic Party then, figuring out how you do it, with their poll taxes and their all kinds of, and just outright intimidation if you had to. But as you know, all those people who were Democrats in the South are now the Republicans in the South, and all changed with Lyndon Johnson's signing of the Civil Rights Act. There was a lot of switches, party switching going on then. So the solid Democratic South became the solid Republican South. And they're still at it. They don't like those minorities voting because they vote the wrong way. And what's amazing is they know somewhere, and they're terrified, that they themselves are part of the demographic that is about to become the minority. For people who love feeling like they're on top, USA, USA, that, I guess, is the most terrifying thing imaginable. If you're white, male, Christian, if you've always been in the overwhelming majority and consequently always been part of the people who have the power, to see it being whittled away as it is and has been for much of my lifetime with the civil rights movements, black people, women, all these people, Mormons, for God's sakes. There's a Mormon heading the Republican ticket. All of these strange minorities, all of a sudden, not only wanting power, but taking it. And I really, so I guess what it comes down to is what I said to Tom. They're frightened. Frightened people are often frightening because in their fear, they don't think clearly. There's too much adrenaline going. So in their fear, they create their own reality because they can't deal with the actual one. Facts be damned. So that speech after speech in this convention, repeating lies upon lies, even when they're called out for the lies, they go right back and tell them again. That's what Allison wrote to me. Wasn't there a time, she said, that when you were caught in a lie, you quit repeating it? But these Republicans seem to be entitled to their own facts. If Obama loses this election, then lies, big money in the hands of a few, will totally rule this country. There's no way that these people writing million-dollar checks don't expect a return on their investment. The reason Romney doesn't give any details is because what Norquist says is true. The Republicans only need someone to sign the bills that these donors want passed. Yeah. Well, Democrats next up. And I guess they start on
Monday.
Well, not Monday's Labor Day. They're having events, but I don't think the convention itself really starts till Tuesday. And I believe the Democrats planned for a 3-day convention, not a 4. They did plan for a 3, mostly. And so it should be a pretty quick and I would think tidy affair. No Clint Eastwoods. Okay, guys, listen, have a wonderful 3-day weekend. I intend to myself. Be safe. What did Tom say to me? Don't drink and drive? Why did he say that? Because he knows me. No. And really, have a great weekend. Talk to you Tuesday when we'll welcome Democrats to our television screens. Toodaloo.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.